Hey guys, welcome back. Or welcome if you're just now joining my channel. So there's been a lot of interest on Skyrim, and guys, honestly, I'm really happy about that because this is a game I really know. So with Breath of the Wild, I knew the game so well, I could literally just play the game, push the record button, and upload. It was easy peasy, it took a couple of months, you know, bada bing, bada bang. Skyrim, same type of party, guys. When I was laid up, you know, recovery and all that fun stuff, I really got burned out on the Zelda game. You know, at the time, I had never played a game like Breath of the Wild. It was new, it was open world, it was visually stunning, the quests were fun, it was immersive, the depth was just insanity, and, you know, I couldn't get enough, so I just really grinded on the game. I had the time to do it, and I really just learned it. That being said, I probably got a couple of thousand hours in on Breath of the Wild before I even did a video. And guys, exactly the same thing here in Skyrim. I've got about 3,000 hours or so, and guys, this is completely off book. I have not referenced any walkthroughs, any guides. I didn't read the official guide. In fact, I knew nothing about this game. Completely nothing. But when I got really burned out on Breath of the Wild, you know, I kept Googling, you know, other games like Breath of the Wild, and Skyrim kept coming back up. I was like, well, wait a minute, you know, this game, it's old, I don't know. The pictures Google was pulling up, they look kind of like outdated graphics somewhat. And, you know, but it had the elements I wanted. It was open world, it had the quests, it had the exploration, it had the stamina, the inventory, the weight, just all the elements that I really, you know, was going after. So I thought, you know what, I've got the expendable income at the time anyway. So, you know, dropping 60 bucks is no big deal. So I went ahead and bought, you know, Skyrim for the Switch. And guys, I knew within an hour that I was playing this video game. Yeah, the graphics are a little bit dated, and I say that here in 2024. Now, I started playing this game, you know, 5-6 years ago. You know, about the time I stopped doing the Breath of the Wild walkthrough. And, you know, the hiccups with the graphics, you know, this game was so ahead of its time when it first came out. I still consider it relevant. In fact, you know, other online games that I do play that are like, right now, Ark, Fallout 76, the graphics are pretty comparable. The characters pivot kind of funny, you know, they're not real fluid. But honestly, after you really get into the story, I don't even notice that stuff anymore. You know, I only notice it when someone else mentions it. So, you know, this game is so immersive, you'll be able to get past that. So, guys, it's all here. Questing, treasure hunting, combat, just... I go out on a limb here a little bit, but in my opinion, I think this is the best video game that has ever been made, and I don't say that lightly. Guys, I've played a lot of games, and most of them I just quit playing after an hour or two. It's just not for me. It didn't pull me in right away. I didn't like the graphics or something. I didn't like the mechanics. But this game, I don't think I'll ever stop playing it. This is my go-to game when I really just want to kick back and have some fun with a video game. Alright guys, so that being said, as far ahead of its time as this game was, it is riddled with glitches. Now, I started playing this on the Switch, and guys, it glitched out on me at least once a day. There wasn't a day that I played this game where it didn't glitch out on me. So you know what? Rule number one, save that game, save that game, save that game. I cannot stress that enough. Save that game every chance you get. The cool thing about Skyrim versus Breath of the Wild, you can save the game, you know, put down those hard saves as often as you want. So, yeah, you just never know when, you know, you were out farming and you got like 200 of something, and then, you know, the game crashes, and then you have to reload, and all that stuff you just collected is no longer in your inventory, which really sucks. But, you know, just save that game as frequently as you can. Now, I am playing this game on the Xbox. This intro video is actually the Switch, so as you can see, the graphics are pretty sharp. You know, you can tell it's a little bit older, but, you know, it's not bad. And this is the Switch, so yeah, the intro video is going to be on Switch, then I'll move over to Xbox. Reason being is there's mods, or they call them creators areas now or whatever, creations where you can make the characters' skins look a little bit better, a little bit more up to date. And the Switch just doesn't offer that creation section. So, you know, for that reason, I will be switching over to the Xbox here at some point. But, okay, so right here, guys, I'm going to kind of stop babbling about other stuff for a minute. I personally always go with Redguard. Male versus female, I don't really notice a big difference, but I do think there's a hitbox. So I think the females have a smaller hitbox. I think. You know, I haven't found a game stat to validate this one way or another, unfortunately. In the internet, it's an absolute nightmare trying to find the answer to this. But me personally, I'm going to go with a female anyway. And main reason is because, guys, those of you who know me and have been on my channel for a while, I bought my Switch specifically for Metroid Prime 4. Then they canceled the game, and I've been super angry ever since. But enough about that. So every video game that I play now from here on out until I get to play Metroid Prime 4, if I get the option, I'm picking a female character. Absolutely. And I'm picking a character that's going to look a lot like Samus Aran from the Metroid Prime games. And just because I can't play Metroid Prime 4, at least in other games I can still feel like I'm playing Samus Aran. So anyway, I'm going to kind of skip all this stuff, you know, and matter of fact, you know, this doesn't really matter right now anyway. So I'll just take a preset, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Alright, so, yeah, Redguard specifically because they have the ability to not deal with poison, and guys, poison is a real big pain in the butt in this game. It's in, like, every single dungeon, and it really knocks the health out of you, but if you're a Redguard, you can literally just kind of casually play the game, and you don't have that big issue where you're constantly taking poison damage. And guys, I know there's potions and stuff that can help, but honestly, oh, that is such a big pain in the butt. Having played the game multiple ways, and, you know, with different races of characters or whatever, I just find Redguard's the way to go. But again, you know, you're probably going to want to play this game more than once. So, you know, experiment. You know, choose the Imperials over the Nords, you know, or vice versa. Choose different races. You know, give the game a try. If you're playing into it a little while, you know, you get a few hours in and you're just not feeling it, start a new game. That's the great thing about this game. You can create multiple profiles and, you know, give it different goes. So yeah, Redguard all the way. I started talking a little bit about game glitches before, so yeah, guys, unfortunately, you know, Bethesda just never really took the time to fix a lot of these issues, and the very first thing I noticed was, you know, quest glitches. I couldn't get a quest to clear, I couldn't figure out what to do next. You know, you go on Reddits and stuff, and there's just a gazillion pages of data to read through, and guys, I spent the time to do all this. So, the one common theme, though, is everybody kept saying if you keep trying to play Skyrim without glitches, you're going to drive yourself insane. I'm sorry, but that answer does not work for me. How to figure out, A, what caused the game glitch in the first place, and B, was there a way I could play the game to outsmart it, so to speak. And folks, I have done that. So many of these quest glitches that, you know, give people problems like King Olaf's Verse, all these, you know, kill the leader of so-and-so retreat, just, you know, my head is literally spinning right now. There's so many different ways to hard break quests in this game. But what I can do is give you just kind of like a quick little list of things that you can do on your own to, you know, hopefully avoid some of these issues. But honestly, I can't sit here and think of them in all, you know, all one video here. So, what I'm going to have to do is just kind of bring these things up as I do the gameplay. And guys, it's going to be a fun walkthrough, I promise. This game is, like I said, I hesitate to say it's as far as I'm concerned, it's the best video game ever made. Alright, so that being said, save that game, guys. That's rule number one. That's going to be a big help, because when you do hit a snagging point, like maybe your follower gets lost and you just can't find them anymore, okay, I'm going to have to pay attention a little bit to the game now. And don't worry, you can't die here. This tutorial stage, you're just going to be following this dude around. You can stand in the dragon's flames, it really doesn't matter. It's just kind of really showing you the game mechanics. And the good thing is you can map your buttons and settings, so you can actually change all the buttons around to make it feel like another video game, you know, like where the jump button's located and, you know, things of that nature. So, anyway, yeah, as far as glitches go, guys, so save that game often and frequently, so, you know, something like your follower gets lost, or, you know, you can't find them again, you can reload a prior save and, you know, problem solved. You gotta be Johnny on the spot though, you know, if you're playing the game for like 5 hours and you're wondering where your followers have been that whole time, that's really gonna suck to have to reload, you know, a really far in the past save point to get your follower back. So yeah, followers will glitch out on you constantly, that's super frustrating. Oh yeah, another thing too is when you are reloading a new save game, you're going to want to go through before you reload a new game and delete all of your prior saves. Reason being is because the game gives you, like, you know, so many saves. Oh no, I got to remap my buttons apparently. Okay, they're right on the Xbox right now, I just don't know what button does what. Bear with me. What was I even saying? Oh yeah, so I noticed in the past I started a new game, but I didn't go through and delete any saves, and I had like 80 or so saves. So anyway, when I reloaded the save, it showed that they were all deleted, but it's like the game still thought those 80 saves were there, and then it would only let me like save 20 times, so I just constantly kept having to go back through, you know, delete saves just so I could keep saving my game. So, you know, that's a good just little kind of side tip. If you do want to reload a game file, just before you do that, make sure you go back through and delete everything you had prior. Alright, what else is there? Quest breakage, guys, there's so many different ways that can happen. At some point in the game, you're going to have to like do some negotiations with the two warring parties, and the kings, or jarls they call them, get swapped around. So if you have any quests that were linked to, say, a jarl in a particular town, and then you change said jarl, then you can no longer clear that quest because that jarl's been fired. So that's one way to hard break a quest right there. So you want to make sure all of those quests that were linked to any jarls throughout your game are completed and completely closed out before you get to that point in your game. Another thing is NPCs can die. Yes, I have accidentally killed NPCs in this game, not knowing any better, because they wouldn't cooperate or they'd piss me off, and I'd, you know, plug them with an arrow. And then, you know, I don't know, 2,000 hours later, find out, oh, I needed that NPC for something, that really sucks. So yeah, guys, do not kill NPCs, and if you're at, you know, at a point where an NPC does die by accident, once again, going back to save that game all the time, reload the save and make sure that NPC wasn't dead. And sometimes they're gonna die and you won't even know. Like, you'll be walking around and then the courier will come and, you know, he'll tell you, oh yeah, so-and-so from so-and-so died. Here's your 50 gold for, you know, their death. Sorry for your loss. And it's like, okay, well that sucks. So yeah, guys, just anytime an NPC dies, reload save, do it again, make sure NPC doesn't die. Another way to hard break quests is combat. So like the Skull Village is a sticking part for this. A lot of people get stuck on the Speak to Storm Craig Strider or whatever his name is, and you can't clear it. And the reason was because there was combat initiated in that Skull Village at a bad time. You know, it could have been a troll coming in. It could have been, you know, you engaging combat nearby with something and a villager or two got involved. One way or another, sometimes that can trigger the game to think you're an enemy to the skull, and then it won't let you proceed from that Skull Strider quest. Okay, so anyway, right here you have to choose. So if you go in this door, you're going to be on the Imperial side starting out. If you go in this door, you're going to be on the Rebels, or whatever they're called. I can't think of it right now. But anyway, I like to go with these guys. Again, you might want to play the game both ways at some point, but the Imperials are kind of like the evil empire that are trying to take over from the people who just want their land to themselves. And these are kind of like the rebels fighting for their own. So, you know, it's just... And you can change this decision later on, you know, it's not like this is a hard decision now. No matter which way you go, you'll get to a point in the game where you can change sides. But, you know, just for me, for the sake of I know which way I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go ahead and follow this dude for now. Alright guys, so enough about, you know, breaking the game. Again, I can't think of everything right now anyway. Oh, another thing too is named items. So it's an open world game, but it really, really sucks because if you're just wandering around exploring and you see a cool dungeon and you want to go in there and explore and you're looting, you can actually hard break a quest doing that. So, unfortunately, the best recommendation is go ahead and wait for a quest to tell you to go to that dungeon before just going into the dungeon. Now, there's exceptions. There's dungeons I know that are perfectly safe. And again, guys, this game is so massive, I won't be able to sit here and think of them all. But having, you know, played the game as much as I have, I know where I can go, I know where I shouldn't go, and anything named. So if you find, you know, King Olaf's verse, do not pick that item up. As soon as you put it in your inventory, that will hard break that quest. Again, unless the quest is telling you specifically to go here and get this King's Olaf verse. Only then are you safe to actually do that. So, you know, just a helpful tip, if you're out and about and you come across a chest and there's named items in there, do not pick them up. In fact, you're probably better off getting out of that dungeon. Alright guys, so anyway, this is, you know, pretty much just the intro video. When I come back, I'll be on the Xbox again for that better texturing, because, you know, it's better graphics. Not only that, the game thinks a little bit quicker, it glitches out on me less on the Xbox. You know, with the Switch, I crash at least once a day. With the Xbox, it's maybe, once or twice a week, depending on how much I'm playing. But either way, save that game, save that game, save that game. I cannot emphasize that enough. Alright, folks, you know, I hope that was a good, thorough intro there. And like I said, guys, really, really awesome game here. I know it's older. And, you know, one thing I wanted to mention is, compared to Breath of the Wild was a little bit more tame as far as, like, violence and stuff. This game's a little bit more adult, so you're going to see a little bit of blood. Now, you know, it's dated graphics, so the blood kind of just looks like, literally like somebody dropped a bucket of red paint. You know, it really doesn't look that bad, but it still kind of gives you the idea that, you know, you're standing in a torture cell, or somebody died over there. Or, you know, like you saw in the opening scene there, the guy getting his head cut off. So, actually, I almost didn't play this game specifically because of that. I'm sitting here, you know, going through the motions, and somebody gets their head chopped off. I'm like, whoa, time out, I'm not playing this. But, I was interested enough, you know, I just kind of had that talk with myself, okay, it's just a video game, nobody really got their head chopped off, you know, just whatever. And, you know, like I said, once I got immersed into the game, things like dated graphics and the blood stuff, it just, I didn't even care anymore. Guys, it's all here. It's just such, like, there's no words. This game, the depth, the massive nature of it all, you're going to be exploring this map for years to come. Like, it is that good of a game. There's probably parts of the map I've never even seen before, 3,000 hours in. So, again, guys, just lots and lots of fun to be had in this game. If you've already played Skyrim, guys, I guarantee you've never played it like this. We are going to get armed up, we're going to get suited up, we're going to get fed, and we are just going to be insanely combat capable super early in the game. There's ways to enchant weapons, there's ways to stack bonuses. I mean, it's just insane, guys. You are in for a real treat with this game. Alright, folks, I've talked long enough with my screen just sitting still because I don't want to keep going right now, but there's so much to talk about. Anyway, guys, you know, I hope you join me for the walkthrough. I hope you enjoyed the intro. You know, I'm not giving up on TOTK, it's just I need to learn the game as I go. That's why it's taking me so long to get through this walkthrough. Like I said, Breath of the Wild was done in 2 months. TOTK is probably going to take like a year. But, you know, I figured in the meantime I can do Hogwarts and I can do Skyrim, and, you know, that won't really delay TOTK anyway, so. Alright, folks, thanks for your viewership. I hope you guys enjoyed the walkthrough. Please feel free to provide input along the way. Awesome game here. Hope to see you back for the videos. Peace!